Hey guys, Gareth97 again, this time with part 2 of the G3 Gundam plus Char's custom Rig Dom duo set review. This time, Char's custom Rig Dom. And unlike the G3, this is not an MSV kit and not a canonical mobile suit even. This one only appeared in the novelization of the original Gundam series. Also, unlike the G3, this time the color scheme became less militaristic. Quick comparison with this statue here. We can see that the black has now become a very dark brown, which actually is most of the dark you see on the mobile suit. Then the gray is now slightly dark gray. I can't really tell if this is also the gray that was used on the normal Dom, or if this was the actual gray used on the normal Dom. But yeah, the gray is still gray. And then the purple has become Char's typical salmon pink. And the red is still red. Same goes for the beam saber. For the heat saber, the hill and well, I would call it a beam, but I guess the blade is still yellow. So the color scheme is very Char-like, to say the least, which is of course why it is the Char custom. So yeah, colors, even though they're not as realistic as the G3, they're still pretty damn nice. Stickers, you almost don't need any stickers at all. The only two that are on, the only two normal stickers on the Dom itself, one for the mono eye and one for the scattering beam gun here, which actually doesn't do a lot. The other two stickers you get are for the scopes of the giant bazooka and the beam bazooka. But yeah, which one of these is really the giant bazooka, eh? Also, one very cool thing is, underneath is actually clear plastic on both of these. So if you like painting, you don't have to apply the stickers, you can just paint it with clear red or clear pink to make it look a lot better. Then of course we also get very nice clear stickers, the ones you get for Char's Rig Dom here. A Xeon insignia, a big one, a small one, the name of the mobile suit. You also get a spare, the MS09 RS. And you get, of course, Char's own insignia. You only get that one in one size. You also only get one, which is a little bit of a shame. Unfortunately, you don't get any Xeon, unlike the EF-SF you get. And then, well, you get the same warnings as you got with the Gundam, because now they do share one sticker sheet, by the way, just to make sure. And, well, that's all you get for stickers. Now on to articulation, and this was my biggest surprise. Let's face it, it's the Dom, it's a pretty bulky mobile suit, and going into this, I wasn't expecting any articulation, and man, was I surprised. Even the head goes a little bit up and a little bit down, and also reveals a little bit of internal detail. I don't think the camera wants to focus on that, but hey, also goes a little bit left and right. It's not a lot, but once again, it's the Dom. I was even surprised that was physically possible. Also, the coolest gimmick of it all, the mono eye. Goes all the way up, down, left, and right. So they have a really cool mono eye gimmick. And I also really like that it's easy to get to. As you can see, it just pops off. It's on there really loosely, but it's just sturdy enough not to fall off, and that's the way it should be. What's the point of having a movable mono eye if it takes an hour to get to it? Then the arms. Forwards, really nice and like so. Backwards, not really. Turn around, of course, will also rotate below the shoulder. Go up all the way like that, and oof. There it goes. The heat saber. We'll get that in a sec. And it goes back down. Elbow on one joint, and we get about 90 degrees exactly this time. Hands, as always, on ball joints. We'll turn around, wiggle around, and everything a ball joint does. Biggest surprise, the waist. Goes backwards all the way like that. And a little bit forwards. Wasn't expecting that at all. Also goes a little bit side to side. Not a lot, but it's there. Also, the thrusters move up and down. I'm also fairly certain that you can actually separate them, but I was a little bit afraid of doing that. Front skirts molded separately. Very, very surprising. That's not something they usually do with a high rating of the century, but I guess the design kind of lent itself to it. And also have the side skirts go up. The legs go out about that far. Forwards, still quite nicely like so. We'll go a little bit further. If you bend the knee, backwards really far. Of course, thanks to that wide back skirt. Also have a little bit of movement on the thrusters here, but yeah, not really necessary, is it? Then the knee. The knees are double jointed, but once again, the top joint doesn't really do a lot, so you get a bit more than 90 degrees. Feet go forwards. They're on a double joint, so they're on a hinge at the top and a ball joint at the bottom. So they do go forwards quite nicely, and also the thrusters inside move forwards and backwards. Once again, a little bit pointless, but hey, it's there. Then backwards, yeah, not a lot because of course these giant covers. We'll go side to side and turn around completely. Just like the other things, not really a purpose, but it is there. And then now we get to the accessories. First of all, I have to point one thing out, and that is you do not get all the accessories you get with the normal release. However, the entire set together is cheaper, and the only parts that aren't included are the ones to make the normal DOM. That means you do not get extra soles, and you also only get one pair of thrusters. So it's really no big deal. But all the rest is there, including the one thing that just fell down. So, like I said, the first thing we get, the heat saber. Just pull it out and sits in there really nicely. And it doesn't really fall out. When you're a bit, when you kind of like press it against it, it doesn't fall out. But if you just put it normally, it will fall out. So it all depends on how much friction you can get with those thrusters. So once you have it out, it goes into the hands quite nicely and also sits very firmly in there. It's not going to fall out. And you can of course have the pose of him drawing it. And then we also get this hand. And what you can do with it is simply put it in here, have it kind of up like that, position the arm like so, and now you have the box art of the Master Grade, which is a very nifty thing you can do with it. And also one of the poses the Black Tri-Stars of course made. So it's a really interesting hand, also nicely detailed. And now we're getting into the real meat of this kit. Let's get rid of this holding hand and bring in the trigger finger hand. Starting off with the giant bazooka. You have a movable handle, goes down, goes up. You have a movable handle here. The scope isn't movable, sorry. And this here also moves for one reason or another. Wait, let's quickly replace this with the holding hand again. And it is a little bit on the wobbly side, but of course because this is a bazooka, once you put it over the shoulder, no problem at all. You simply bring that arm over there. Oops, that wasn't supposed to happen. Let's quickly put it back in there. Come on. Could do it before, sure you can do it again. Yeah, come on. This actually went easier with the Zaku. Oh yeah, by the way, if you have a Zaku high mobility type and you want to give them this bazooka, no problem at all. It actually seems that they they're having an easier time trying to hold it. And there we go. We now have the giant bazooka. But when we have this set, we're not going to use this thing. We want something that's really giant. The beam bazooka. Or as I like to call it, the BFG. Once again, a little bit on the wobbly side. And the handle does go down, and that's all that moves in this thing. So we put it on here. And there we go. This is where it's at. And simply put it on there. And once you have it positioned right, he doesn't really have any problems holding it. But you kind of have to get it in like the correct pose. There we go. And now that ain't going anywhere. You saw it sagging a little bit earlier, but like I said, once you get it in a good pose, in a good solid pose, it's not going to move. Because he's been holding this pose for a long time on my desk now. And man, this is really where it's at. The beam bazooka is really awesome. It's giant, it's big, it's very deadly. And that's what you want to use with this kit. So, as for the giant bazooka, just give it to one of your Zakus. I'm sure they'll like it. So, that's all for accessories. And like with the G3, I can't do a do you want to buy this just yet. As for this set on its own, it also gets a definite recommendation. I was also really surprised with the actual model itself. It was a lot better than I was expecting, especially for a Dom in terms of articulation. Accessories are awesome. The beam bazooka is fantastic. Color scheme, not as realistic, but it's Char. That makes up for it. The seals are nice. I can't really say anything bad about this model. So there we go. It's really, really great. Now, a final comparison shot. Here we have the old Dom Tropical Test Type. As you can see, molding has come a long way. Oh yeah, for bit size comparison, here we have the G3, and you can see it's quite a massive mobile suit. So, see you next time for the conclusion of this set.